Honor has a new high-spec flagship camera phone for global markets, the Honor Magic 6 Pro. So how good are these cameras, and are the other features competitive as well? I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's find out in our Honor Magic 6 Pro review. The Honor Magic 6 Pro is first and foremost a camera phone. Its unique camera setup includes a main cam with a dual aperture lens and a telephoto cam with a super high-res sensor. The Magic 6 Pro also brings a dual selfie setup with a wider than most selfie cam and a 3D TOF camera. Besides the cameras, there are other desirable features too, including a bright LTPO display, the latest chipset, a large battery, and fast charging. The design is quite premium. The centerpiece is the large round camera bump, which has a striped texture within. It's surrounded by a glossy, squarish metal accent, which matches the color of the frame. The frame is made from aluminum, and both the front and the back curve into it. In the green colorway, the phone's back panel is made of a soft and grippy faux leather. There's also a black color available with a glass back. And as expected from a flagship phone, you get IP68 rated ingress protection against dust and water. The display of the Magic 6 Pro is a curved 6.8-inch LTPO OLED with a high resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. The resolution results in a sharp pixel density of 453 ppi. The bezels are minimal here, and though a curved screen may not be for everyone, it lends a premium look. There's also support for HDR10+ video and Dolby Vision. The Magic 6 Pro's screen is also one of the brightest around. We measured up to about 775 nits with the manual brightness slider, and this boosts to nearly 1600 nits in auto mode when in bright conditions. Since the display is LTPO, its refresh rate can dial from a smooth 120Hz to as low as 1Hz when idling to save energy. And something special is that this is possible even when the Magic 6 Pro is at a low or even minimum brightness level. You also get a full screen always-on display, something that we've only seen so far on the newer iPhones and the Galaxy S24 series. For audio, there's a pair of stereo speakers. The top speaker has a grill on the top and also doubles as the earpiece. The speakers have very good loudness, and the sound quality is great, with nice vocals, clean highs, and good bass. The Magic 6 Pro has an optical under-display fingerprint reader, and is quite speedy and accurate. The position of the sensor is a little too low for our tastes though. Alternatively, you can use the 3D Face Unlock. It should be more secure here thanks to the extra TOF hardware. It's fast and can even work in the dark too. This global version of the Magic 6 Pro will be available with 512 gigs of UFS 4.0 storage. That isn't expandable through microSD. The interface of the phone is Honor's Magic OS 8.0 on top of Android 14. It's got the full Google Apps suite. That's unlike the Huawei software situation, which has limitations in that regard. And for software support, Honor promises 4 major OS updates and 5 years of security patches. In this interface, you get large folders, which let you store multiple apps and launch them with a single touch. And you can turn on widgets for certain in-house apps by simply long pressing on the app and choosing the sort of widget you want. The front-facing camera assembly can be used for air gestures, a familiar capability also found on the previous model. A new addition is that if you have media playing, you get status icons which show up around the camera bump. You can tap on the icons to call up the app. It's very similar to Apple's Dynamic Island feature. And there's a new Magic Portal functionality. You can highlight something on your screen and drag it onto the sidebar, allowing you to search, email, and put it down as a note. Under the hood of the Honor Magic 6 Pro is Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. It's the chipset of choice for most Android flagships in 2024. It provides both better performance and efficiency than last year, and there's also much improved ray tracing for games. In benchmarks, the Honor did a great job, and performed to the high standard we'd expect it to. It posted numbers roughly on par with other flagships running on the same chipset. There's also a high-performance mode you can enable, which improved the scores in some tests. On top of that, the high-performance mode improved the Magic 6 Pro's behavior when it comes to thermal throttling. During our prolonged stress test, with this mode enabled, sustained performance was respectable. What throttling there was remained gradual, with no sudden dips or spikes. The Magic 6 Pro has an extra large 5600 mAh battery capacity. That's a meaningful upgrade over last year. The battery life itself is better too, with the Magic 6 Pro earning an active use score of 14 hours and 6 minutes in our tests. It did especially well in our gaming test, where it ranks among the best we've ever measured. The Magic 6 Pro is rated for 80-watt charging, but our unit arrived without a bundled adapter. With the previous model's 66-watt adapter, we were able to charge from 0 to 82% in 30 minutes, and a full charge took 44 minutes. We also tried higher wattage chargers with similar results. The Magic 6 Pro supports high-speed 66-watt wireless charging and reverse wireless charging too. Finally, we have the cameras. There's the main cam with a dual aperture lens and a large 50-megapixel OmniVision sensor, then a 180-megapixel 2.5x telephoto zoom, and a 50-megapixel ultrawide cam with autofocus. With the main cam, you can switch apertures between f1.4 and f2.0 at the touch of a button in Pro mode. Being able to control the aperture is useful for manipulating depth of field for closer subjects. Besides the depth of field control, we wouldn't say there's a visible difference in sharpness between shots taken at f1.4 or stopped down to f2.0. If you're in the regular photo mode, the phone will automatically pick the aperture based on lighting and subject proximity. In general, daylight photos from the main cam look very good, with nice sharpness and plenty of detail. There is a bit of graininess in areas of uniform color, but it isn't too disturbing. And shots of people look good too. Overall, the dynamic range is great, and the color saturation is well judged in the default vivid mode. There are also a couple of other shooting profiles you can use to achieve a different look. However, the natural mode doesn't appear to do a whole lot. The authentic mode, on the other hand, dials up the contrast and saturation, and adds a liberal amount of vignetting. In the dark, the Magic 6 Pro will capture essentially the same photos in night mode that it will in photo mode, using whatever auto night mode action it finds appropriate. The resulting photos from the main cam have excellent dynamic range, with well-preserved highlights and good shadow development. Colors maintain a nice level of accuracy and saturation. There's plenty of detail as well, although you can tell that there's some heavy processing involved. The Honor Magic 6 Pro can record video in up to 4K at 60 FPS. 4K videos from the main cam are somewhat lacking. There's an overall softness to the footage, and the exposure is a little too dark. Colors are nicely vibrant though. Electronic stabilization is always on, and it does a great job across the board at smoothing things out. When recording in low light, the main camera does an admirable job with exposure, dynamic range, and colors, and the detail is decent. Now we have the telephoto cam. It takes excellent 12.5 megapixel images with lots of detail and no noise to speak of. The dynamic range is nicely wide, and the contrast is just right too, and overall colors are faithful and likable. With its huge 180 megapixel resolution, this camera is able to capture high-quality 5x zoomed photos too. They're quite solid. The main weak point is the artificially processed look of fine random detail, like foliage. One of the telephoto camera's main virtues is the ability to focus close, allowing for some nice, highly detailed shots of tiny objects. It works at both 2.5x and 5x zoom. The shallow depth of field allows you to separate the subject from the background and channel the viewer's attention. 2.5x zoomed shots in the dark are superb. Detail is excellent, and is rendered in a relatively natural way, a bit more so than on the main camera. Colors are on point once again. We did notice that especially contrasty scenes may end up underexposed, as the phone tries to salvage as much highlight detail as possible. Otherwise, it's a great showing. At 5x zoom, the Magic 6 Pro is able to maintain a decent level of detail, even in difficult scenes. Still, we've seen sharper and better detailed nighttime shots from dedicated 5x telephotos. The telephoto cam's 4K footage is generally more appealing than the main cam's. Detail is very good, and the dynamic range and colors are on point. Now the ultrawide cam. It's quite capable during the day. The field of view is wider than most other ultrawides, and there's plenty of sharpness and detail, with a minimal softening toward the very corners. Dynamic range and color reproduction are hard to fault too. If you look closely, the ultrawide camera is rather sketchy in its detail presentation at night, and its shadows are on the soft side. We are liking the exposure and dynamic range though, and when you couple those with a good color output, the ultrawide images look nice from afar. 4K video from the ultrawide is decently sharp and detailed. It does a decent job with exposure, but the color rendition is off. On to selfies, taken with the 50-megapixel selfie cam, which has autofocus, and the TOF depth sensor too, in the case of portraits. Selfies come out pretty good in broad daylight, with a minor drop in quality in dimmer indoor conditions. There's great detail, no noise, lifelike skin tones, and nice colors overall. So there you have it, the Honor Magic 6 Pro. You get a solid suite of flagship features, including a top-notch curved display, great battery life, and fast charging. The 3D Face Unlock is a rare feature on Android, and this is a serious camera phone when it comes to stills too. The video recording quality from the main camera does fall behind competitors in certain aspects, but if that doesn't trip you up, then the Magic 6 Pro is a flagship worth recommending. Thanks for watching, guys. Here are a couple of similarly priced camera phones on our channel, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and the Vivo X100 Pro. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.